Welcome to my channel. This is Grace Manzi. In the video today, I'll be showing you how to make a fitted shade pattern, okay? This is just like a basic shade pattern where you can design and develop into all the fashion designs that you have in your head. If you want to leave the dots, if you want to add gathers, you want to add a yoke, and also you can make all sorts of shade dresses from it. Right, before we get into the video, I just want to say a special thank you to those who subscribe to my channel, those who liked and shared the videos, all the wonderful comments, and those who took time to watch the videos. Thank you very much, and God bless you. If you are watching me for the first time, today is your day. Why don't you just hit that subscribe button and also the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the videos coming up on this channel. Okay, now let's get straight into the video. Right, starting with the front, if you are familiar with the basic bodice pattern, okay, you should now be aware of these lines that you are seeing here on the pattern paper, okay? Right, the only difference is this line here is the center front, is starting in 4 inches, okay? So you measure 4 inches from here inwards, okay, and draw a straight line, which I've done here, okay? And then I've imputed the hip line, the waist line, the bust line, the chest line, okay? And I've also put the shoulder slope here, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do now is to do the neckline, okay? So to do the front neckline, I'm just going to measure 3 inches, okay, from the center front along the shoulder line here, okay? So I measure 3 inches there and mark, okay? And I'm going to go down 3 inches as well, okay? Like that. So I get my pattern master, draw like a square in which the neckline is going to sit. It's much easier that way, okay? Like that. Alright, and then I get my curved ruler and draw in the neckline. Okay, once the front neckline is done, I go ahead and do the divide my bust line by 4, which is 44 divided by 4, I get 11, okay? So I measure 11 inches here on the bust line, on the chest line, and I mark there. I also measure 11 inches on the bust line as well, okay? Right, and on the waistline, I'm going to be using 40 inches, so I divide by 4 and I'm going to get 10 inches, okay? So I'm going to mark there. And then on the hip line, 50 inches divided by 4 is 12.5, okay? So I'm going to put measurement there, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and join those points. Okay. Get my curved ruler and blend those sharp curves, okay? Making sure I don't leave any sharp curves. You know, you want it to be nice and flowy. Okay. Now for the armhole, you go to the shoulder line, okay, and you measure 8.5 inches, which is half of your shoulder measurement. Okay, mine is 8.5 inches. Okay, and then I put a mark there, right? I come to the slope and I mark the point, which is exactly along that shoulder measurement. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to do is just to draw a straight line all the way to the chest line. Okay, from the shoulder slope. Okay, like that, right? This measurement here from the shoulder slope to the chest line should be equal to your armhole circumference divided by 2. Okay, you can either measure it or you can divide your bust circumference by 6 and add 1.5. Okay, so mine is 9 inches and that's exactly the measurement I'm getting here. Okay, 9 inches. Now to do the armhole, you get the midpoint of that line by folding the tape measure back like that. Okay, mark the midpoint, go in 1/2 inch. Okay, and mark, right? And then get your curved ruler, right? The next thing, first thing you're going to do draw a line joining that pointed bit to the midpoint. Okay, like that. Okay, and then you're going to draw another curved line which is going to be sitting on the chest line like that. Okay, can you see that? Right. Okay, so that's the front armhole done. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is the darts. Okay, this shirt is going to have darts at the front as well as at the back. Okay, so I'm going to use my bust span or nipple to nipple measurement, divide by 2. Mine is 4. Okay, so I'm going to put 4 inches here on the bust line. Inches on the waistline and 4 inches on the hip line, and then I go ahead and draw a straight line connecting those points. Okay, the dart is going to be 1 inch away from the bust line. Okay, so that you don't have a pointy appearance. If you put it on the bust point, it's going to be pointy, and it's going to be 1 inch wide. So I'm going to mark 1/2 inch on either side of this line here, of the waistline, on the waistline, and then it's going to be 2 inches away from the hip line. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and join those 4 points. Okay, so that's the dart done. The next thing I'm going to do is to shape the shirt at the bottom here. So I measure 2 inches here from the hip line going up and mark using my pencil. Okay, and then from that 2 inch mark I draw like an S shape. Okay, right, I go ahead and get my marker. Okay, so after doing this, before we go to the center front of the shirt, I'm going to be putting in the seam allowances. Okay, so at the bottom here I'm going to put 1/2 inch sewing allowance, 1 inch on the side, 1/2 inch on the armhole, and as well as the shoulder and neckline. Okay, so that's what I'll be doing now. Now, as you can see, I've done the sewing allowances. Okay, on the side as well as down here and up on the shoulder and armhole. Now The reason why I left this 4 inches is because I'm going to draw 3 lines here, okay? One for the bottom line, one for the facing, and one for the interfacing, okay? So I'm going to determine how wide I want the measurement, the lapse to be, okay? You can either make the buttonhole one smaller and then the other 2 bigger. It's all up to you. So you can make them 1 inch each or half an inch each, depending on the fabric that you are going to use, because if you are using a very thick fabric, you can't use a measurement which is less than, let's say, 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to use 3/4 of an inch for the buttonhole and 1 inch each for the interfacing and the facing, right? So I'm going to measure 3/4 of an inch first, right, on the waistline as well as on the bust line, chest line, and the neckline, okay? So I measure 3/4 of an inch here, 3/4 of an inch there, 3/4 of an inch, right, and 3/4 of an inch here. Okay, then I go ahead, get my long ruler and draw a straight line connecting those points. The next 2 lines are just going to be 1 inch apart, okay? So that's what I'll be doing now, measuring 1 inch and draw the next line and then the next line. Okay, so using the blue pen, I'm going to label those lines, okay? So the first one is the buttonhole. Buttonhole line, okay? The next one is the facing for the buttonhole, and the next one is the for the interfacing. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is just to cut along here to remove that excess, okay? Now, to extend the neckline here, you start by folding in those lines, okay? Starting with the interfacing line, you just follow what I'm doing, okay? Now what we have here is just the buttonhole line. Okay, go ahead, get your tracing wheel, okay? Open it up again. Go ahead and draw 2 lines following the tracing wheel marks here, okay? Okay, So that's basically the front done. What I'm going to do now is to go ahead and cut it all out and then label it as you just watch me doing it, the usual drill, okay? Now for the back, I'm going to be tracing out this same pattern here, okay? I'm not going to put the dots because the dots are different. I'm going to put the armhole, yes, but remember the armhole for the back does not go in half an inch. It just goes straight onto the line and it touches the chest line, okay? I'm sure you are aware of that if you've done the basic bodice pattern, okay? And it's going to start from here. I'm going to leave all these interfacing, facing, and the buttonhole lines. It's just going to start from the center front line here. And I'm not going to do the neckline as well. I'm going to be doing that with you. So that's what I'll do now. I'll just go ahead and trace this pattern here for the back. Okay, now after tracing the back, as you can see, this is the fold line, this is the center back. It's going to be cut on fold, and you are going to need one piece of this. And also please note, that also goes all the way to the chest line, okay? All the way to the chest line, and it's still 2 inches away from the hip line, okay? And now what we are going to do now is the neckline and the armhole, okay? For the neckline, you simply measure 1 inch down from the curve, from the shoulder slant here, okay? As you can see, you measure 1 inch down, right? And also you measure 1 inch here, right? So what you are going to do is, like I did earlier, make like a little square where the neckline is going to sit, like that, okay? Once you've done that, the next thing you are going to do is just to go ahead and draw the back neckline, okay? Right, so that's the back neckline done. For the armhole, you simply get the midpoint of this line here, right? By folding the tape measure back as I always do, right? Mark that midpoint, okay? It's right there. And then you just get your curved ruler and just draw a line which goes all the way to the chest line, like that. Okay, so that's the back armhole done, right? So I can just go ahead and do the sewing allowance on the armhole as well as the neckline to finish it off, okay? Now the last thing I'm going to do, if you have observed any shirt that you have seen, the seam on the shoulder is not exactly along the shoulder line. It tends to fall forward 1 or 2 inches, okay? Now to have that effect, what you need to do is go to your front shoulder and measure 1 inch, okay, from the sewing allowance, okay? Measure 1 inch from there and mark. So basically that's like having another ½ an inch sewing allowance down here, okay? And mark it as I'm doing here. Okay? Once you've marked it like that, you get your ruler and draw a straight line across, joining those dots, okay? Right. Once you've joined those dots, The next thing you are going to do is to cut out along that line, okay? That blue line that I've just drawn there, okay? Okay, now after cutting it out and putting glue, you are going to attach it to the shoulder, from the shoulder line here, okay? Just watch what I'm doing like that. It should fit perfectly, okay? Right, there we go. Right, so this is what is going to happen when you put on your shirt. Okay, that's the back, and this is the front, right? If you match the sides like this, okay, match the sides, okay, what you are going to have is that effect where you are going to have to fold this back so that it matches. You see that? You see it's nice and round here. That's how it's going to look like when you make the shirt. It's going to look nice and round, forming the neckline for the shirt, as well as matching the seams here, the side seams here, okay? So yeah, that's it. Basically, that's the end of the shirt pattern making. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Right, the next thing I'm going to do in the next video is to do the collar, okay? Right, because you need something that's nice and round that's going to fit here, okay? So yeah, watch out for the next video when I'm going to be doing the collar, the shirt collar, okay? Thank you very much for watching, and may God richly bless you, okay?